Are you absolutely sure that the little moments you share with your cat every single day are building something real, and not quietly tearing it apart? Because the truth is, the most damaging things we do to our cats don't feel wrong. They don't look harsh or careless. They feel soft, affectionate, even loving. And that's exactly why they slip past us so easily, unnoticed, repeating day after day until something between you and your cat begins to shift, and you don't even realize why. It usually starts in the smallest, most innocent way. You see your cat curled up, sleeping so peacefully it almost feels like time has paused just for them. Their breathing is slow, their body completely relaxed, and there's something about that moment that pulls you in. You want to be close. You want to feel that warmth. So you reach out. Maybe you gently stroke their fur, maybe you pick them up for a quick cuddle. They blink slowly, maybe flick their tail just a little, then settle again. It seems harmless. Feels like love. But beneath that quiet moment, something else is happening. Your cat isn't just sleeping for comfort. Sleep is their reset, their recovery, their way of staying balanced in a world that can feel unpredictable. When that rest is interrupted again and again, even in small ways, it begins to create a pattern. A subtle tension. A quiet understanding that peace doesn't last when you're near. And over time your cat starts making a choice. Not out of anger, not out of rejection, but out of instinct. They stop sleeping beside you. They move further away. A different room, a hidden corner, a place where nothing disturbs them. And just like that, something gentle between you begins to fade. Not because you didn't care, but because your version of closeness didn't feel safe to them. Then there's something even simpler. Something that feels so small it's almost invisible in the rush of daily life. The litter box. Maybe you skipped a day. Maybe you told yourself you'd handle it later. Life gets busy after all. One day doesn't seem like it should matter that much. But to your cat, that space isn't just a routine spot in the house. It's the one place that belongs entirely to them. A place where everything feels predictable, controlled, safe. When that space becomes dirty or neglected, that sense of control disappears. And for a creature that depends so deeply on feeling secure, that loss doesn't stay contained in one corner of the house. It spreads. You might notice it in ways that don't make sense at first. A sudden accident outside the box. A restless energy. A distance in how they move around you. It's not rebellion. It's not bad behavior. It's stress looking for somewhere to go. And without realizing it, you become part of that feeling because in your cat's world, you are the one who shapes everything around them. But maybe the most misleading moment of all happens during play. It starts off fun, almost instinctive. Your hands move, your fingers wiggle, and your cat reacts instantly. They pounce, they grab, they bite, soft at first, playful, harmless. It feels like a shared game, something that brings you closer. Except your cat isn't playing the same game you think you are. To them, this is practice. Real, instinct-driven, deeply wired behavior. And every time your hands become the target, something clicks into place inside their mind. A connection forms. Hands mean movement. Movement means prey. And once that connection settles in, it doesn't just disappear when the moment is over. That's when the confusion begins. One day the bite is harder. The swipe is sharper. And it feels like it came out of nowhere. But it didn't. It was built slowly, moment by moment, through something that once felt completely harmless. And that's the pattern you have to start seeing. The quiet ways trust can shift. The tiny actions that feel like love from your side, but feel like uncertainty, pressure, or even risk from theirs. Because your cat is always learning from you. Always watching, always adjusting, always deciding one thing. Whether being close to you feels safe, or not. And what makes this so unsettling is that the biggest mistake hasn't even been revealed yet. The one that happens almost every day, sometimes without you even noticing it. The one that can undo everything faster than anything else. That's where this really begins to change. Now here's where things start to feel a little more unsettling. Because some of the moments that confuse your cat the most don't come from what you do directly to them, but from what you change around them. Think about the last time you moved something in your home. Maybe it was just a chair, maybe you shifted the couch or decided to rearrange the whole room to make it feel fresh again. To you it was simple. A small change. Maybe even something exciting. But to your cat it wasn't a small change at all. Your home isn't just a place they live in. It's something they've carefully learned, piece by piece, day after day. Every corner, every surface, every path through the room means something to them. It's a map they've built in their mind, one that tells them where they're safe, where they can escape if something feels wrong, where they can rest without being seen, and where they can watch everything without being noticed. So when that map suddenly changes overnight, it doesn't feel like a redesign. It feels like the ground beneath them has shifted. You might notice them walking slower, pausing in places they used to pass without thinking, or avoiding areas they once loved. They're not being dramatic. They're trying to understand if the world they trusted is still safe. And during that time, there's a quiet question sitting in the back of their mind. If everything can change this suddenly, what else can't be trusted? And again, without meaning to, you become part of that uncertainty. Then comes something even more delicate. Something that can either build a bond that lasts a lifetime, or quietly break it before it even has a chance to form. A new presence. It could be a guest walking into your home, a friend who leans down with a smile, a child reaching out with curiosity, or even another pet stepping into a space your cat has always known as their own. From your point of view, it's natural to expect things to just work. To assume your cat will adjust, will accept, will understand that this new presence is harmless. But your cat doesn't think like that. They don't automatically trust. They don't assume safety. Every new person, every new animal, every unfamiliar scent is a question that needs answering. And that answer can't be rushed. When someone walks straight up to them, reaches out, tries to touch or engage before your cat has had the chance to observe, something inside them pulls back. Not out of aggression but out of protection. Because from their perspective, they weren't given a choice. They weren't allowed to decide if this moment felt safe. And the part that hurts your bond the most isn't the fear itself. It's what that moment communicates. It tells your cat that their hesitation doesn't matter. That their discomfort can be overridden. That when they feel unsure, the one person they rely on won't slow things down for them. That feeling lingers. But here's the part most people miss entirely. The moment that happens so often, so casually, that it barely even registers as something important. Your cat tells you when they're uncomfortable. Every single day. It's not loud. It's not obvious. It doesn't come with words or clear warnings the way you might expect. It comes in small, quiet signals. A slight flick of the tail that wasn't there a second ago. Ears that turn just a little flatter. A body that stiffens almost imperceptibly. A shift, a pause, a subtle lean away from your touch. And in those moments, your cat is saying something incredibly simple. Not right now. But what usually happens? You keep going. You keep petting because just a moment ago they seemed fine. You keep holding them because you don't want to break the moment. You keep pushing gently past that signal, believing it's nothing serious. Until it becomes something serious. A sudden bite. A quick scratch. A sharp reaction that feels completely out of nowhere. But it wasn't out of nowhere at all. It was the last step in a conversation that started quietly, and was never heard. And that's where something important begins to unravel. Because for your cat, trust isn't built from how often you show affection. It isn't built from how much time you spend together. It's built from something much simpler and much more fragile. It's built from being understood. When your cat realizes that their signals don't change your behavior, that their attempts to communicate don't lead to relief or space, something inside them starts to close. Not all at once. Not dramatically. But slowly, consistently, in a way that's almost impossible to notice until the distance is already there. They stop coming as close. They stay alert longer. They choose spaces where they won't be touched unexpectedly. Not because they don't care about you, but because being close no longer feels predictable. And for a cat, unpredictability is the same as danger. Which brings us to something deeper than all of this. Something that ties every mistake together in a way most people never stop to think about. Because it's not really about sleep or space or play or even those quiet signals. It's about what your cat believes about you when all of those moments are added together. And that belief is what decides everything. At the end of it all, after every small moment, every habit, every interaction you've shared, your cat isn't remembering isolated actions. They're forming a feeling. A quiet, steady belief about what it means to be close to you. And that belief becomes their reality. It doesn't happen suddenly. There's no clear moment where everything changes. It builds slowly, almost invisibly, through patterns. Through repetition. Through the tiny decisions you make every day without thinking twice. Whether you let them sleep in peace or interrupt them. Whether their space feels clean and predictable or slightly neglected. Whether your hands feel safe, or something to defend against. Whether their world stays stable, or shifts without warning. Whether their fear is respected, or brushed aside. Whether their voice, silent as it is, actually changes anything. All of it adds up. And eventually your cat stops asking questions. They stop wondering if this time will be different. They stop testing whether you'll understand them. They simply decide. They decide if you are safe. That's the part most people never hear out loud because it's not dramatic. It doesn't come with a big reaction or a clear signal. It shows up in quieter ways. In the distance that slowly grows between you. In the way they hesitate before approaching. in how quickly they leave instead of staying, in the way their body never fully relaxes, even when they're right next to you. And if that sounds familiar, it can feel a little heavy, because it means something important may have already started to shift. But here's the part that changes everything. This isn't permanent. Cats don't need perfection. They don't expect you to get everything right. What they respond to, what they hold on to, is consistency, awareness, the feeling that their world makes sense when you're in it, and that can be rebuilt. It starts in moments so small they almost feel insignificant. Letting them wake up on their own and being there calmly when they do. Keeping their space clean not as a chore, but as a quiet promise that their environment won't betray them. Reaching for a toy instead of your hands, drawing a clear line between play and safety. Moving through changes slowly, giving them time to understand instead of forcing them to adapt instantly. Letting new people or pets exist at a distance until your cat chooses otherwise. And most importantly, listening. Not with words but with attention. The flick of the tail. The turn of the ears. The slight shift of their body away from you. These are not random behaviors. They are decisions, messages, boundaries. And when you start responding to them, really responding by stopping, by giving space, by adjusting your behavior, you create something your cat understands immediately. Relief. And relief is where trust begins again. Because in that moment your cat learns something new about you. Something that matters more than affection, more than routines, more than anything else. They learn that when they speak, you listen. That when they feel unsure, you won't push them further. That when they choose to come closer, it will be on their terms and nothing bad will follow. And slowly, almost quietly, things begin to change. They start lingering a little longer, sitting a little closer, sleeping a little deeper in your presence. The hesitation softens. The tension fades. Not all at once, but enough for you to feel it. That's trust returning. Not because you forced it, not because you tried harder to show love, but because you finally aligned your actions with what your cat needed to feel safe. And that's the truth most people never realize. Love on its own isn't enough for a cat. You can care deeply. You can give them everything you think they need. But if they don't feel understood, if their world feels unpredictable, if their signals go unanswered, there will always be a gap between you. But when they do feel understood, when your presence becomes something calm, something steady, something they can rely on without question, they choose you. Not out of habit, not out of dependency, but out of trust. And there is nothing more powerful than that.